This is a video on tooth gems. I will be showing you in this video how to apply two different types of tooth gems, and I'll also show you a video on how to remove them. It's a little lengthy, but it's a real video with no edits to show you how it's done. This right now is very important because a lot of people in this industry do know how to apply gems, but they don't know how to take them off. So I'm just going to show you. I'm working on my son here, and I'm doing two teeth um, on his canines. And with this video, the first thing that you see me doing is applying what's called etch. Etch is just like a sour material that helps to dry the tooth out. When you're doing etch, it's very important to allow the etch to give time to dry the tooth out, but to not let it sit too long. It's also very important to make sure that you're not getting their gum area or anything like that. Just stick to the area that you're working on. Some people only do a dot or as big as the tooth gem is going to be. I personally do it bigger so that the whole area is dried out. What you just saw me do was use a wet towel to dab the etch off, and then I went back with a dry cloth and dried off the etch completely. The next thing that you're going to be seeing me do is apply the bonding agent on both teeth. So on this part, I would say, depending on how quick you move, if you're working on more than one tooth, you may just want to do one tooth at a time. But here I'm applying the bonding agent, and with the kit that I have, I use Prime Dent. And with Prime Dent, it allows you to put the bonding agent on, but to activate it, you're going to need a curing light. And so I let it sit for a few seconds to settle into the tooth. Then I'm going to give him his protective glasses because the light for curing is pretty bright. And then I'm going to go through and spend about 20 seconds on each tooth and just activate the liquid bonding agent. Also, if you are in the industry where you're learning how to do tooth gems, understand that this is just one method out of many. Some people don't even use a three-step process. Everybody has their own technique. So I'm just showing you how I use my Prime Dent kit and how I can make my gems stick and last. So after I went through and put the bonding agent on, I'm going to dab the tooth to dry it out. But in this particular technique, I'm not going to get anything wet like I did with the etch. It's just going to be a dry one, and I'm going to kind of blot it. I'm not going to make any pressure on the tooth to wipe it off because I do want it to stick. I just don't want any excess. So that was step 2. First is etch. Second is bonding agent. The third step would be the composite or flow, as some people call it. From my experience, there were times where I used to use metal um, or certain instruments to add the composite. My composite is a very thick composite. It's not very flowy like some of the other ones I've used. So from my experience, it's really best to just use what I'm using here, which is like a little wood piece, because it doesn't react with the temperature to make it melty or make it be cold or hard. It just uses its natural temperature, and I let it sit for a second so that it can adapt to the tooth. If you let it sit for a second, the tooth itself will be dry, but it'll still warm it up. And now I'm just applying a gem. This is a 14 karat money bag gem. So I'm just sticking it in there. And some people call this a mechanical lock, where you put the composite on first, then you stick the gem on top of the composite, and you push down without having really too much composite underneath the gem. And then the excess, you go around the gem and you scrape it off. A lot of times people will do a gem and they'll put too much composite on. And what happens is the client will end up losing the gem and have like a circle around it. So basically the gem came off and the composite came off with it. That happens because, for one, they're not drying the surface of the tooth properly, or they're putting the etch on and then they're not understanding that you have to get it wet a little bit and then also dry it. Sometimes I even take a few seconds to pull out a fan and I'll put a fan over the client's mouth just to make sure the tooth is fully dried. That is more important than probably any other step. The second important thing is not having too much composite. So now that I got the gem where I want it, I'm using my stick and I'm just pressing down to create the mechanical lock. Sometimes the heat from people's mouths will make the gem slide, and while you're curing it, you don't really see it and it'll be in a different position than what you want. So that's what I'm doing here. Is now that I know it's locked in place, I'm just going through and I'm hitting basically all the angles. So each side of the gem, the top, the bottom, the left, the right, and then I'll even go in a little circular motion to try to cover everything. I do this uh until I feel like it's cool. But while I'm doing it, I'll just check, make sure the composite is dry, make sure it's locked, make sure I don't feel any wiggling or any movement. Also, it's important when you're using your curing light not to get too close to the customer's mouth. There's been times where I perform gems on myself and the heat from the light is like it burns a little bit, and that's not necessary. That's actually n- not proactive at all for what you're trying to do. Doing it as many times as I'm doing it in this video may not even be necessary. I'm just a very thorough person. I want to make sure everything is dry. I want to make sure it's locked into place. So here I go with my fan. I'm going back through even after it's bonded to make sure that it's still dry and I'm getting the full effect of being able to cure this tooth. So now that that gem is locked in, you're going to see me go ahead and go to the next side of his mouth, and I'm going to be applying a Swarovski gem, and these are very common. They come in different shapes. Most of them are circular, which you probably see, and that's what I'm applying to him. If you pay attention, in the beginning of this video, I had done the bonding agent and the etching before. So in this one, I'm going ahead and just applying the composite. Also, because I'm working on my son in this video, and he really does like tooth gems, but he preferred the money bag over the crystal. So I didn't put as much effort into applying the crystal because we literally put it on there just to take it off. So here you see I put a blue crystal. It's a 3mm, has a silver backing, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the money bag. I'm going to go around the gem and get the excess composite. You can see I knew I didn't stick it on properly. I just kind of threw it on there. So that's why I pressed down. And then you just see me going around, getting the excess off. The reason why I put a lot of composite on more than is needed so that I can create a foundation around the gem. Some people will do a tooth gem and the gem itself will come off, but the silver backing will stay on. The reason why is because their foundation of composite isn't high enough around the gem. So it's only locking in the very backing of the gem. So on here, I took off like too much composite. So I went back, moved it around, and put another layer, like a circle ring around the gem to create the foundation. And then I'm going to wipe off all the excess again. All right. So after that, it's pretty much the same. In my opinion, doing the crystals is actually harder than doing the metal or gold gems because just it it just is harder to me. And these fall off way easier than metal. But then again, putting the mechanical lock in, bonding it to the tooth, let it go since I know it's in place. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did on the first gem. Doing a circular motion, I'm going to hit as many angles as I can. The reason that I created this video was because some people just need a demonstration on how tooth gems are done just to see people's techniques. And also, I don't know if people don't know how to take gems off or if they just think that you're not allowed to do it. The truth is, if you're going to be putting tooth gems on anyone's mouth, you better know how to take it off. So, if you're going to put a gem on and you think that you can't take it off because it's illegal and you send someone to the dentist, just understand it doesn't even make sense that you can bond something to someone's mouth, but then it's illegal to take it off. That literally makes no sense. However, it's your choice to do so, but I think it's very important that you know how to take them off. Even if you're not working on a client, you could be working on yourself. What if you bond a gem to your freaking mouth and it's crooked? Don't you want to know how to take it off? Yes, exactly. So now that I have both of the gems bonded on, I'm now getting my tools to show you how to remove it. And this video is live and it's real, so you can see how, like, it's not going to be perfect. But one of the things that you will need when you're trying to unbond a gem is very similar to what you use when you're doing braces. If you haven't realized yet, this is the same way that dentists bond braces and brackets to your mouth when you get braces. So this is called a bracket remover. There's two different kinds. This one, I'm going to show both. So this one is more of a square one. And as you can see, I'm having trouble, right? And so that is what you're going to need, but I'm going to also end up pulling out the other tool just to show you. It looks kind of like pliers, to be honest, but I'm going to show you that tool as well. There used to be a time when I first started gems about 6 or 7 years ago. Um, I would tell people to use floss and just keep working with the floss and going back and forth until it came off. Sometimes that would work and sometimes it didn't. But one thing I knew for sure is most people, when they do that, they lose the gem. So the gem will fly off somewhere and then they can never get it. So now you see me using like the needle nose ones, and yeah, it didn't work. And I kind of even scratched his gum a little bit, and that's not what we're trying to do. So I did a really good job bonding it. There was not a lot of excess composite for me to pull on. So I really had to work with the tool and take my time. But that's why I wanted to show this video so that you can see not an edited version, because I could have just trimmed it and let you see where I got it off in one swoop. but it doesn't work like that. So this is me just showing you how you can slowly and methodically, and as you can see inside the thing, it peeled off a little bit of the bonding agent. So it only took about 40 seconds, and now the gem is gone. Got it? Fell right in his mouth, pulled it out. And then me and him noticed that the gem had been removed. There was no metal anything, but as you can see, I'm rubbing his tooth and there was a little bit of composite on there. So I went back and got the tooth wet, and then I added a little bit more edge to kind of dry the tooth out again to try to remove the edge. I'm sorry, the composite that was on there, the excess. What we came to find out is it really just kind of came off on its own. But that one is bonded. I actually recorded this video about a month ago, but his gem is still there.